the buzz topic was zero torque putters. So you said you
Yes.
wanted to talk about putters. We've talked about putters, and I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a couple of the antidotes, and there is one that is currently in my bag that you and your team were kind enough to make the connection for me while we were down in Florida, and it's awesome. So I got to say
Great.
thank you in person. But walk
You're
us through
welcome.
these antidotes, man. These things are sweet.
Well, which one are you rolling, Chris? The SB1 or the SB2?
I
Like you
am an
got the two.
SB2 guy. Oh,
Very nice.
of course, I have to have it with me here.
Very nice.
This guy,
Oh yeah,
awesome.
that's sweet. And you got the counterbalance. No, I think the zero torque's been interesting. Golf, I think we all know, you guys especially on the retail side of things as well. There's so many fads in golf and so many trends in golf over the last 40 to 50 years. So I've been getting asked the question the last 2 years, what do you think of zero torque? And what's your opinion on it? And at first, I would be honest and say did not necessarily understand how it all worked. And after doing a lot of research and our engineering team involved, I do now understand how it works. And I think the technology is great. And I think the most interesting and the best part of it is that any consumer can feel that technology. I would go back. I tell customers I liken it to the old carnival ride called the Gravitron, where you go
Yes.
in that washing machine and you have your arms stuck against the wall. You lift your arms off as the machine is spinning, and your arms get sucked back, right? Because it's zero gravity. When you grab a zero torque putter or an antidote at retail, in my opinion, and a lot of consumers, that's why they're so hot. You can take the putter back, and it almost feels like it's on guardrails. It's very, very easy to stroke it straight back, straight through. For traditional putters, when you have that toe hang, the putter wants to open, right? Or through impact, the putter wants to close. I feel like with the SB1 and SB2, it's never been easier to stroke a putt. So that's why I think it's so successful. And then going back to, there's a lot of brands doing it right now. Going back to our line with the Antidote, I think we have a couple really unique features. The looks, the feel, and then the price and where it's at in the market. I think a lot of your listeners will know we make all of our putters in America. So with the tariffs going on, in the golf industry and what consumers are going to start seeing, if that stays put, you can expect very similar, if not the same pricing from Bettinardi Golf on the putter side, which is really, really cool. But our brand has always gone back to looks. If you look down at a putter, you feel confident in it, you're going to make more putts. So that may have been a barrier to entry to prior golfers trying to get into the zero torque game. Maybe they were turned off by what was on the market with a look standpoint. We're now with our stainless steel feel, what people have come to expect from putters, really beautiful looks, and then a very reasonably priced in the market. I think that's why we're having a lot of success and can't make them fast enough right now.
And Sam, just to talk about your antidote, your square to square, your zero torque, whatever you want to call it. I've never been a center shafted guy. Like I've always found it very hard to find square when I jump into a center shafted club or a putter. What I would say, the thing I love most about yours is because the shaft is set back, but it's straight up and it's not too close to the face. I will say, out of all of the ones that I've tried, that's probably the first one where I can definitely find square before I hit the putt. They all roll really well. I always find I push everything left, where like extreme left, where yours, I found I could get it online a lot easier. So really, I feel like in the end of the SB2, like really, really great job in that, like putting that shaft a little bit further back so you can see the face, especially because you don't have that forward lean as much as other people do as well. So I do think for those people out there that are wanting to try something in this space, but get a little bit weirded out by the look and feel when they look down at something in this zero torque category, the SB2, if you want to go that mallet style, definitely does hit the mark for me anyway, in regards to still feeling like a regular putter. When I say regular putter, I mean a non zero torque putter.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And there was a lot of R&D that went into making that putter. And I know my engineering team would say it was arguably the hardest putter we've ever had to machine, really because of the tolerances of it, right? Where that shaft goes into that SB2 and the SB1, it's directly in line with the center of gravity. So when we started making those pieces, we didn't just push go and 1,000 pieces popped out, right? They're machined one at a time. It takes hours to machine a putter from a block of steel. So when we started testing those first few pieces, we noticed that some of them were a little bit off in terms of the toe hang or the toe being straight up and down. Some didn't work in the revealer test, right, where we wanted to make sure it was going to lock in and stay square to square. So that was a very challenging moment to be able to really dial in our machines and the tolerances of the machines to manufacture that hole where the shaft goes in, plus or minus the tolerance of a human hair. So very, very tough to set up and now to monitor and keep going. But I feel like we've nailed it. And we're starting to see a lot of momentum in that category, and it's been very hot.
And then something I think is really cool about what Bettinardi does is, and look, I've personally never owned a Bettinardi putter, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something that I've never had the opportunity to own, and one day I cannot wait to do so. But I think something that's really cool about Bettinardi is, and I would love kind of you to talk through this a little bit, and I just found this out a few weeks ago too, was that the way you kind of look at your lineup is based on the milling that you put on the face of your putters, meaning depending on what feel you want, you're going to go after this milling. If you want a really soft feel, we're going to go after this milling pattern. If you want a harder, more firmer feel, we're going to go after this milling pattern. I find, and you have some really interesting milling patterns as well that I don't think people really talk about enough. So I think it'd be really cool to just like understand how you guys do that and how you perceive that. So the consumer, when they're looking on a fairway jockey or they're looking at bettinardi.com, they can make a decision on what kind of a milling they want to get from you.